Hello. In this second video, we will define visual programming and understand desktop applications. Do you know desktop applications? These all are desktop applications.
Desktop applications. Desktop applications are the type of softwares installed and run directly on a personal computer or laptop. These software work offline and do not need any browser or internet. Types of desktop applications. There are mainly two types of desktop applications. One is called UI applications, means desktop applications without database, and the other is database desktop applications. Without database desktop applications means that the desktop application that doesn't have any database. For example, calculator, Paint, Notepad, Photoshop, VLC player. These all are desktop applications. These all software runs offline, but these software do not have any database. On the other side, desktop database applications are actually desktop applications. They all run offline, but they have database. For example, dictionary. For dictionary, we need a database to store definition and meanings. Second example is quiz. Quiz also have database to store questions and answers. Similarly, school management system, the complete mega database desktop application to store all the information regarding school. Hospital management system, HMS, the complete mega software that contains information regarding hospital. And the bank management system, BMS, that contains all the information regarding bank. So there are mainly two types of desktop application. Without desktop application, UI applications and database applications. But the question is that how desktop applications are developed. Actually, desktop applications are developed using visual programming. Let's see what is visual programming. Visual programming is a programming approach where developers create applications or softwares by drag and drop visual components like buttons, labels, text boxes, images, instead of writing all code manually. But why it is called visual programming? In this method, in visual programming, we use Visual Studio. In Visual Studio, we create a desktop applications by drag and drop the buttons, labels, text boxes, images, and we can see with naked eyes all these components. That's why such approach, such programming is called visual programming. Visual programming is also called event driven programming model. Why it is called event driven programming model? Actually, visual programming is based on event driven. Event driven means event action. Like if you click on the button or double click or enter, click, double click, enter, these all are events. And in the response of event, some action occurs. Like when we click on a button and the form close. So click is event and form closing is action. Similarly, double click is event and file open is action. Similarly, enter is event and file saved in the response of enter is actually action. So visual programming model is based on event action pair. Let's take an example of SMS school management system. When we enter student record and when we click on the save button, so when we click on the save button, so this is actually event, and the response of save clicking save button, the record is saved in the database. So student record saved successfully. This is actually action in the response of click event. Let's take a very simple example of event and action. Let's in a school when the teacher start ringing the bell. So this is an event, and when the students leave the class, so this is an action. When the teacher start the ringing the bell to close the class, so this is an event, and when the students leave the class, so this is an action in response of ringing the bell. So now, which programming language and tools are needed to start development of the desktop applications using visual programming? So we have already discussed that for desktop application development using visual programming, we needed C# or VB programming language. But here in this tutorial, we will use C# and we will use .NET framework. So now C# using .NET framework is called C#.NET, and we will use and install Visual Studio IDE for making desktop applications and coding in C#. And for the database creation and management, we will use SQL Server. So that was all about what is visual programming. In this video, we discussed what are desktop applications, what are the examples and types of desktop applications, what is visual programming, why it is called visual and event driven programming model, and how to develop desktop applications practically. In the next video, we will discuss what is .NET framework.